Also, in today's episode, I'm going to share something that I've never shared. A few people know it, and you may know. But every time somebody asks me this question, I took some notes on what I wanted to talk about. But then we went to church this morning. I won't name drop anybody, but I sat in front of a gentleman and his wife, and the first thing they talked about was a podcast, and it created a dialogue. It was another grown man who's been through some things. It was just cool to, they just commended me on the raw emotion and stuff. And so I want to stay on that track. And so the whole time we were in church, I was kind of praying to God, like, God, I want this to heal me, and I want to help others. I don't want you to see what my life was. By no means, when we talk about any of these topics, do I ever want you to feel guilty. Like, you have a great life, and that's what childhood's supposed to be about. If you have just wonderful parents, you have a wonderful life, you have no worries as far as, from an adulthood standpoint, and that's fine. So when we have these dialogues back and forth, I don't ever want you as my son to feel like because my story is different than yours that you should feel bad or you shouldn't appreciate the things you have. No, I walk that for you, right? Maybe I didn't know you then, but I walk that for you. And so after that conversation with those folks at church who we've been diving into the family tree, and there was a lot of talk of forgiveness, right? There's been clips of me saying I forgive. There's been clips of me saying I don't forgive, and I really want to forgive, and I think I have. I think I do forgive my mom. I think I do forgive my dad. I think talking about it, though, at times maybe sparks it hits moments, and so that's why there's going to be some anger and frustration that comes. It doesn't mean I don't forgive them. That conversation at church just kind of led me to, I'm not going to tell these stories in any certain path, right? I'm just going to share, and I may share something in a story that's from 15 years old. I may bounce to 17, or I may have to revisit middle school. And I just hope that you and the people watching can understand that this is just about telling stories and sharing why I'm here and what the purpose is. That's kind of the whole goal of this. And so each episode that involves me will touch on that, because somebody may not watch episode 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And so each episode, I want to be able to say, hey, this first chunk of stuff is about me, solely to share my story, to be raw and emotional, because today just proved today proved to me there's other people going through this stuff. And it somebody I wouldn't have expected, never would have expected. And what they said to me was, hey, not to be judgmental, but we see you out in public, or we see you and you look like you got it all together. Like, you look like you come from a, 2-parent home, and you just look like maybe everything was great in your life. And so it made me feel good, because that's where I want to be in life now, right? I want to be way better than what I was before. But it also made me think, like, how many people do we sit next to? How many people do we walk past? How many people do we engage with daily that have these same struggles, right? The lack of fatherhood, the lack of parenting, mental, physical, emotional abuse, all those things. Like, how many people endure that daily that maybe we talk to, and you just don't know because they've overcome it. And so this is a big, long intro to circle up and say that I do feel called right now that having this podcast or show, having this interaction with people about fatherhood and about forgiveness and hurt and healing, I really think that's what God wants me to do right now. Our pastor today said, people, you may have went through adversity in your life, right? You may have went through things, and you didn't get through it because of you, right? Like, I didn't get through my childhood because of me. I didn't get through Afghanistan because of me. I didn't go through all of those things for nothing. All of those things that I went through leads me to a present day where I can share that, right? I can share that message, and I have to understand that I went through all that to share my testimony, to share not only my struggles, but also my faith, and to help others understand that, hey, if I can go through all that and God can drag me out of that, right? What can he do for you? And so I will say, to viewers listening, as this audience grows, and I'm so thankful and blessed to watch it take off. I'm going to reference God a lot in this podcast. I'm going to reference my faith. If that's something that bothers you, this is not the place to be. This is not the podcast for you. I will not sit and debate that. I don't know if I'm going to put this in the podcast, but I'm going to say it just in case I can have it. When you're at rock bottom in your life, when somebody hits rock bottom, whether it be drugs, alcohol, addiction, abuse, no job, no money, no house, no car, disease, right? Think of anything bad that can happen to you. When you fall to the very bottom of this pit and you're on your back, imagine just being on your back, right? In this 100-foot, let's just say it's 100, you fall in a 100-foot deep, dark well. And you see this little light, right? Little light at the top. You're not going to say, Mom, help me out. You're not going to say, Dad, help me out. Aunt Judy, help me out. Cousin Johnny, help me out. Who you going to call to, right? Jesus. You're going to say, God, help me. Even the non-believers, when you're on that back and you're looking up, right? You're looking up at that little light. You have nothing left to lose. You're at rock bottom. You call to Jesus. You call to God. God, help me. God, help me. And he will, right? The problem is, though, is we say, God, help me if. God, just do this. And if, or then. And I'm a walking proof of that. God, just do this and I'll do this. God, just do that and I'll do that. Right. I'm just talking. I don't know how much this is going to go in the podcast. I might just save this and clip this for us later. But I want you to know, as I sat across from you, without God in my life, that's what saved me. But I was ready to die. I didn't want to be here as a teenager. My grandma was the start of my faith, right? She did the thing. She took me to church, sat in those wooden pews. Like, that's where I was introduced to church. That's where I was introduced to God. Your foot okay? While we're in intermission, check out these duck socks. Pretty cool, huh? Also, in today's episode, I'm going to share something that I've never shared. A few people know it, and you may know. But every time somebody asks me this question, I lie. I've lied for years. And people ask me, and it's just I lie out of shame and like embarrassment, because I feel like where I am today, it's something that probably everybody would look over. But for me, it's such a pivotal time in my life that I'm so ashamed of, or I feel just terrible about. And it's a time that I wish I can go back and change, but I can't. And so I can't wait to kind of get into this part of the episode and share that. I'm just going to, again, I'm being raw and honest, so I'm going to let that out. So, for part 2, as we jump into this, recap on part 1, we've discussed a lot of topics. And so I think we'll just jump right in here and follow up with kind of like my middle school years. And so in middle school, man, I started missing school a lot. I think my mom worked at Waffle House. And so she worked second, third shift. And so I would literally go there and I would sit there until she got off at like 3:00 in the morning. And so I commend my mom for working during that time. That was like the only time I really knew her to work. She bussed tables and worked at Waffle House, and she did what she could for a while. But it left me sitting at Waffle House for hours and hours and hours. And I would eat hash browns and chilies and drink sweet tea. That was kind of my thing, man. I just sit there at the end of that little Waffle House bar and drink good sweet tea and eat that chili, that Waffle House chili, man. It's pretty good. If you haven't had Waffle House chili, I recommend you go try it. But within that, man, I just went to so many different middle schools. We bounced around so much. And at this point in time in my life, I started having a lot of unsupervised time. So if I wasn't with my mom when she was working late, I would just be home alone. And that kind of carried on. Being home alone was something that I was used to from a very young age, whether she be working or just out. She started dating. She would date, she'd date some guys in different towns and would go. And so I'd be home a lot. And it wasn't necessarily that I was doing anything bad. I was just unsupervised. I just didn't have bedtimes and stuff like that, Just during that time frame, like my mom dated, keep in mind, I'm in middle school age now. My dad's, I had no idea what's going on existence wise. My mom dated a couple like decent guys. Like literally there's some cool dudes that she dated that were awesome. They were nice to me. They were nice to her, like just did normal stuff. And it's like, no matter what, these nice guys would do. Man, my mom she just circled back around to this one guy. And, I said, God bless his soul in the previous episode because he has passed away. So she was dating him at the time. And I remember she just would stay gone. And so I started spending a lot of time on the streets and I just put not doing anything bad, just not wanting to be home. And I did crave normalcy. I just wanted to do what everybody around me was doing. I missed out on just being normal. And what I'm calling normal is like coming home, having dinner and stuff like that. And so as my mom would be gone, at points in time, like the bills wouldn't get paid, obviously, because she pretty much at this time she was living with this guy and she'd be gone. So the bills wouldn't get paid. So at random times, the water would just get shut off or the hot water wouldn't work. And so it got to the point where we had running water, but no hot water. So like I would have to boil water, like put on the stove, get a bit of pan of water. Cause mind you, I'm still trying to go to school, still trying to do normal stuff. And so I would boil water and take my shower up that way. And it was just so hard, man. Just I knew I'm at the age now where I know that this is not right. This is not a normal life. You shouldn't have to put, 2 quarts of water in a pan and boil it to wash your body before you go to school. I took a lot of cold showers, which, I guess now they're healthy for you. But just, it just little things that I just can't imagine asking you as my child to do. And I will say that we spend a lot of time in stuff called Section 8 housing. And so Section 8 is kind of like government assistance and it's in rougher neighborhoods. I may not look like it now, but most of my upbringing were in like Black communities. Like, that's where I lived. I lived in hood areas and that's honestly where I felt most comfortable, like growing up. Like I was just used to it. And being in an area like that, you almost live 2 different lives. So I'm living in these apartment complex or the ghettoest parts of most towns that I lived in. And I created some good friendships, honestly, some good trustworthy friendships there. But also like I started kind of running around with guys that are way older than me. There's not like 20-year-old dudes that really have a reason to hang out with 15-year-old guys and stuff. So I was just kind of ripping and running out, and I'm blessed that I did not get involved in some of the stuff that was presented to me because I was running around late at night. But it was 2 different lives because at nighttime or when I was away from my cousin and them and her friends and even the friends I kind of made in school, like I was being involved in activities that I couldn't imagine that you would be involved in. Nothing that I did, just things I would witness or, car rides I'd be a part of. Honestly, I was scared to death. But I was looking for somebody to hang out with. I just wanted people to talk to. My mom's gone, so I'm left staying alone in these lower income housing units. I had the ghetto hood vibe to me, and that's just what I was comfortable in. But at the same time, like I craved, man. I watched my uncle's such a great man, and I started staying over there more, and they did things normal with their kids. And so my cousin Megan, obviously, like she has, which they've had their own adversity through some of their stuff, and that's not for here. But at the time in their life, like, man, their only job was get them to go to school and like dress nice. It was a good group of people for me to be around in, like great. She had great friends, great girlfriends, great guy friends, just friends that had kind of like what you have now, just like their parents have great backgrounds. You don't have to worry about what they're doing. And I wanted so bad to be part of that. And most of them brought me in with open arms, and I appreciated that, but it's still like I was living 2 different lives, and I couldn't be. I was scared to go all the way in on either one because, well, one, I think my life I'd probably ended up in jail. But two, like I was scared to commit to, I feel like I was putting on a show. Like I want to be the cool guy wearing Hollister and Abercrombie at the time and just hanging out and doing like after school stuff and hanging out with friends. But at the same time, it's like I couldn't have anybody come over. You know, I live in the parents wouldn't let those kids come over to my neighborhoods or to my apartments or come over to my house where there's no water. Also, by the way, we have to go shoplift food before we go to my house. That was something that I did growing up is like to eat. I would go steal food, and sometimes I did that alone. Sometimes I did that with my mom. You know what I'm saying? Like we would go to Kroger and Walmart and we would just steal it. Like people go steal fancy things. I'm going to steal beef jerky and bacon and a 12 pack of Diet Pepsi. And I'm ashamed. Obviously, I'm ashamed of those moments. I'm ashamed of now. And it's never the right thing to do. But it's just crazy what you'll do just to kind of survive. Kind of jumped a little bit back and forth there, but I just wanted to fit in. I never went to a cotillion. You know what I'm saying? Like you went to 8th grade cotillion and stuff, and never got to do that. Like whether it's rigged or not, or whether it's the good students or the fancy students or the cool kids, like whatever that is, I never got to participate in it. So it means a lot to me when I get to see your name, obviously be selected for something like that, and you get to go represent yourself when you were in 8th grade. But yeah, for middle school, like, I don't know, it's a couple years of 6th grade, couple years of 8th grade. I mean, that might have been, as I spread out amongst 5 different middle schools, 6 different middle schools, I did 5 years in a 3-year place, right? So my schooling was not what I want it to be. So we kind of transition into the fact that at this point now I'm knowing what's right and wrong. We're living in some rougher areas. My mom's pretty much gone out of town with where her boyfriend lived at, would be the stepdad number 2. But they were on and off, and it was super toxic. Alcohol and drugs become a major contributor. So this guy, my stepdad, things were not good. Things were terrible. And I don't know if my mom, she was so drunk. They were so drunk. They literally didn't remember. Like they would do stuff and I'm talking like blackout drunk. They would do stuff and not even remember it. And so they wake up the next day and be like act like I'm weird for being upset. There was one moment I can remember where I would take their keys a lot because they would drink and stuff, and they were fighting. I used to get involved. Just, I don't know. I put myself in the middle for some reason, and I remember, I don't know what exactly happened. They were fighting, and he came after me. And we were living in this little apartment, and the kitchen was kind of tucked back in this corner. And he had a 24 pack of Mountain Dew. They went to the store. They were completely drunk. And I remember he was coming after me. They were trying to cook something. I wouldn't let them have the knives and stuff because they were both arguing. And he kept grabbing at me to get the knives and stuff because they were going to cook steak. It's like 2:00 in the morning. Mind you, again, still trying to be a normal school kid. And I remember taking that 24 pack of Mountain Dew and just swung it, just smashed it right in the chest with it. And he grabbed a broom or something, whatever was next to him, and raised up and just kind of brung down and hit it. And it was like one of those brooms that they bend real easy or whatever. But he hit me across the neck, and it just, at that moment right then, as a kid, but I was starting to develop mind of a man at that point in time. I shouldn't even say mind of a man. I had the mind of a survivalist. So I don't know what's going to happen in the houses I'm living in. So I'm just trying to survive. So I look back now and I'm like, man, I was very rough. And it was just because I was just trying to survive, man. I was just trying to live. So we have this scuffle, and he passes out in the recliner, and my mom finally passes out. And I don't know what in me, I don't know what I was thinking, but I went to I was just full of rage, man. I was just full of rage. So angry. And like, I hadn't, like, my uncle and them at the time probably lived 15 minutes away. I could have just left. And I remember just microwaving. I put a hot pocket. I don't even know if you've ever had to eat a hot pocket, but it's a hot pocket. You know what I'm saying? I put it in the microwave and I put that something going on 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was. I'm talking about hot. And I just remember him laying there and his face was turned back in that recliner. My mom's just slumped over the couch. Both of them just, finally passed out. It was hot, so hot to hold. And so I just grabbed a towel, and I broke the hot pocket in half. And there was just steam coming from this thing, just hot. And I walked over to that recliner while he was sleeping, and I just smashed that scalding hot pocket in his face. And, at the time I thought, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll show you. And he gets up screaming and running around, and, his face is probably burnt some. And I just remember he gets up, we get fighting, and my mom jumps in, and I sling her off, and she like falls through our laundry room have like these little louvers, kind of like our blinds back there. Laundry room had kind of like these. I remember just trying to sling her off, and when I finally did, she was so drunk still that like she fell through all of them and just broke them. And like in the moment, I'm a kid, and I feel bad. Like, did I just hurt my mom? When like literally they're trying to attack me? Like they're trying to attack me, and I feel bad for hurting them. And so he gets me down, and he's hit me and grabbed me, and we're fighting. Finally get off each other. There's a broken glass table. My mom's laying halfway through the laundry room. I got this big freaking whelp on my neck. I don't know, his face is jacked up. The cops show up. And dude, I tell you what, nobody got arrested. They just said somebody's going to have to leave. Somebody's going to have to leave. And my mom pointed at me. You know what I'm saying? My mom pointed at me. She said, he's got to go. And I spent a lot of time fighting physical battles for my mom because men would abuse her. I watched it with my first step. I just watched her get in these situations where she was just a punching bag. All I ever tried to do was protect her. And for her to just say, he's got to go. And that's something that's ingrained in my DNA. I'll never forget that moment. We read in that notebook from my grandmother, right, that she said, Kathy, please watch over Michael. He needs you now more than ever. I just don't get how she could just not have my back one time. I don't understand how she couldn't just save me. I'm trying to work through this one without getting angry or upset. And I tell these stories not to scare you, but this is my life, man. Guess what? Next day I gotta go to school. 3 hours, I gotta be on a bus stop. I have to go to school and act normal, compete to be a friend, compete to be normal. And I just couldn't handle it. And so the more I started sharing, my uncle, man, Uncle Mike, he was a huge blessing to me at that time. And, he opened up his door to me. That's what I want people to know is like, Uncle provided me an outlet. My uncle gave me an option, right? Multiple times. So like as the course of this goes on, whether I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, he gave me an outlet, and it was so hard. It was so hard. I had rules. Mike had rules. Yeah. And it's like, I would go there for a little while and get acclimated. It felt so good. But at the same time, also like, I've always just been somebody's nephew. Or somebody's cousin. And I just wanted to be a son. And, I'm going to share this in the episode. I plan on sharing this. This card is addressed. It says, "So proud of you, son." I'm not going to read all this. But this card that says, "So proud of you, son," I didn't receive this until Father's Day of this year. I received this Father's Day card from my mother-in-law, my father. Now, I may have got some when I was very young, but from when it mattered until now, 10 and up, I've never had a card that said that word. And so as soon as I opened this card at their house, I just lost it, man. I just lost it. I'm so thankful for my in-laws, and I'm so thankful for my uncle and my cousins, because they have helped me so much. My uncle's been such a help. And the older I get now, we have conversations now as I'm an adult. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. And I think if he knew everything, I think he would have not gave me an option. I think because that's the man he is, I think he would have stepped in and just legally said, hey, we got to go. But he didn't know everything. And it was hard. Like I've had, just like even at my, for his house, I was the nephew. On my mom's side, my grandmother, my mom's side of the family, like I had cousins there, and they all had parents and stuff. And through the holidays, and I would go with my cousin to their other side of the family stuff, and I would do Thanksgivings and Christmases, and I just don't think it's so hard being in those environments and watching, immediate children open gifts. It just the weird stuff I remember, I would always fear, but I don't upset anybody in my family that cared or that took place in my life. But, and this ain't even on path, but just like when you pass out, I used to, hey, I'm talking teenager, young, I'm talking 10 through 17. I used to get so anxious when we did that gift thing where you pass around the gifts for everybody opens them, because I was just somebody's nephew. So you go to these events, these holidays, especially Christmas, man, and it's nothing against any of these people. God bless. Everybody that was even attempted to help me was amazing. And it's not like gifts or anything, but I just think about the feeling of like you pass out gifts, and I would get two, somebody would be like, they would make me included. But like when everybody opened gifts, like I would have two, and then I'd continually watch kids get gifts. Kids get gifts. Kids get gifts because their parents and stuff are buying them gifts. And there's nothing wrong with that. But man, I just remember, I can't explain to you how much that weighed on me and how much that made me hated that time of year. It was just so hard. And I wanted to get out as quickly as possible. So sometimes, like not just in that moment, but in other moments, it just made it easier to be in my environment, to be in the environment of pain and chaos and loneliness. Like that's what made the most sense for me, because they're like, I didn't have to feel embarrassment. I didn't have to feel ashamed, because that was just my life. And like I said, just the people that have helped me along the way, and I can't wait to talk more about them, because it's not all bad, because they've been so amazing in my life, so amazing. And they've kept a pulse in my body. There's people out there maybe in this situation, and they just can't explain it to their family, like why it's easier to just not, why it's easier to be in that broken area. I don't know. I don't know. And I'm so blessed for the people in my life that were in my life at that stage. But it was so hard to just handle some of those moments. And I would get so nervous to do things, and like even on like Thanksgiving when people do like white elephant things, and like they would pass around to all the people, and I don't know what white elephant is, I was a kid, but like I wasn't included because you wouldn't know if Mike was going to be here or not at this Christmas, so we just didn't include him. So it was just tough. And this is not a knock at anybody at all. There's not really, I'm just, it's a moment that I can remember big time. And so that's why if you see me at Christmas time, it's just part of my life, I guess. I don't like passing out, everybody watching everybody pass out gifts and everybody open them individually, because if you have somebody there that doesn't have as many gifts, or somebody's gifts aren't as heartfelt, like I don't ever want anybody to be in that position. And so that's why, like, for me, it's like, hey, open them. Everybody take pictures at your free will. But we're not doing this deal where we go around and everybody open them. A friend or a extended family member or a cousin or one of our nieces or nephews or somebody. Like, I would never want to be in a situation where somebody doesn't have the same amount of somebody. I don't know if this is going in. I apologize if I don't mean to upset anybody. If my family hears that, but I just want you all to know that I love you guys. But I did struggle to just kind of fit in at the time, and that's probably more of a me problem than a you problem, honestly. But yeah, so my uncle, I was staying there, after some of this stuff was going on. I was staying there, having a hard time adjusting rules. That's about as easy as go to bed at 9 o'clock. What I would encourage anybody out there, if you're in a situation that, if you're younger and you happen to see this and you have a family member or somebody that's willing to step in and help you, as uneasy as it may feel at the time, I do encourage you to take their extended offers, stay with them, kind of work yourself into their family routine. It's way better than the alternative of where you're at now. And the feeling of uneasy or shy and embarrassed is a lot easier to feel than the pain that you're going through. So if you have a family member or somebody out there willing to help you, let them help you. With that being said, Uncle Mike was willing to jump in and help, and he helped as much as he could. But with other stepdad, it was just a very physical environment. And, I don't know how kids go through that. Like, I don't know how. It takes a long time to recover. It takes a very long time to recover from that. But yeah, she stayed with him for a while. They ended up getting married, and he moved in, and things seemed to get better for a little while, but it made more sense for me not to be there. I stayed a lot with some good childhood friends. Shout out Nick. He's definitely going to be on here. I'm going to like talk to him, kind of go back to our childhood, then talk about how, he's a father of two right now. And I'm so proud of him and what he's grown into. His grandmother let me stay there. My Uncle Mike, as I grew a little bit older, even your mom's mom let me stay there. And what actually brought me to Mount Sterling was I eventually moved, like, in order for me to stay in school. Once we got into high school, like, I had to move in with your Papa Doug. So I moved in with your mom's dad, because if not, like, dude, things were bad. We're freshman year now, maybe that summer of high school, one of the two before high school, and the bills need paid. I need money. Like, I got to get some money. And so I ended up working I was a laborer for construction, did some construction stuff. Most of the time it was just helping out around job sites, cleaning up and taking loads of scrap to the dump. So, as I talked about my Uncle Mike, another person during that time frame in my life that was just influential was a man named Mark Pennington, who known me for a long time. And Mark has his own construction company, but Mark is a God-fearing man, and he has daughters and grandchildren. Mark was like a man that he definitely uses him. I'm starting to work for him, and we live in this townhouse, and every day is really bad. There's alcohol is involved, prescription medications involved. Now, not only is it my mom and my stepdad, or I don't know if he was her boyfriend at the time, whatever, but he's there now. They're not at his residence. They're now at our house. And then we live in this rough area. So now it's neighbors are involved. And every day was just so bad. I would go to school, and I'd come home. And at the time, this is when my mom and my stepdad, they were taking control of me and getting me back under the reins, and everything was supposed to be falling into place. But he wasn't working. I don't know if he got hurt or something, but he wasn't working. So now he was home. It used to be like they would drink at nighttime. But now, like, I was coming home from school and they were already obliterated. Nobody knew. I just didn't tell anything to anybody, like the hard stuff. Somebody told a school counselor some stuff that was going on, and I appreciate that person, because it opened up some conversations that I have to have. I was 16, and I came home, and they were drunk, and I was grounded for something. I don't know. I used to had a first car, and I had it, and I don't even know if I had my license yet. I would put it in neutral at nighttime and push down the driveway, and it was a 5-speed, so I'd push it down the driveway and take off and haul off and go drive around, pick up my friends, hang out, just get out of the house. I didn't want to be there. So I was like grounded, couldn't have my car. And that's what bothered me too. Like, how are you even parenting? Like, look at what you have done to me. How are you even parenting me? But at the end of the day, still my parents still try to follow those rules. But one of the biggest pivotal moments of my life happened in these, like, a 3-day span. And I remember coming home from school, and we live in a duplex. In the kitchen, there was a small guest bathroom outside the kitchen. The kitchen was nasty, and there was beer everywhere and cigarette butts everywhere. It stunk so bad in there. And they had been drinking, and now the neighbors were over. So it was just like a freaking party in the middle of the daytime. I don't know. And I just had gotten to this big screaming match with them. And I just had begged my mom. I was like, why does he have to be here with us? Why is he here? Why you let him to be like this towards me? Like, I just don't want this to be my life anymore. You know, and I remember it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon, man. I mean, I can remember it. Went into that bathroom and I locked the door. What they kept trying to get in there, and they kept messing with me. They wouldn't leave me alone, just harassing me. And I'm sitting in this bathroom floor, and I take a look at the medicine. There's a medicine cabinet thing. I just see a bunch of, there's golly, you didn't have to look very far to see pill bottles. And I just remember wondering, is there any of this that I could take that would just, what can I do right now to just, I just wanted to not be here. And so I look back now, and I can kind of zoom out of my life, and I see this boy, whether he's 15 or 16, he's still got the eyes and the heart of a 10-year-old kid, 5-year-old kid. I just remember looking down. I can just see myself. I thought the only way to be relevant, I just wanted to be relevant in somebody's life. And I literally thought the only way I'm going to be relevant in either of my parents' life, the only way for a split second either one of my parents will care is if I want to, so that my parents for a little bit will care. And that is a feeling that you don't joke about. And if you ever hear somebody talk like that, I expect you to help. I expect you to call somebody. You call counselors. You talk to somebody. You don't ever let somebody go and be that alone. And I just remember, like, thinking in my head, like, if I just am not here, and while my mom's banging on the bathroom door, just yelling, and I just think in my head, what kind of life leads a kid to want to perish? A kid wants to, so that their parents, for that moment after, like, I was ready to lose my whole life and give it up, so that my parents would just hear me, see me. I'm going to tell you about the next day. Obviously, I'm still here today, thank God. And I worked for Mark. Mark, he'd pick me up every day, and I don't know if it was a phone call or I don't know how. I don't think we texted much then. Probably, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a phone call, but this is the next day. I've been up all night, and I just told Mark, I was like, I can't. I don't want to work today, or I can't, or I'm sick, or whatever. And I might have even told him what's going on. I might have. I don't know I don't know how it all worked out, but I was pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm not working today. I'm tired. I didn't get any sleep. I've been up with my parents. My mom was. It's been a disaster. I just don't want to go." And he just wasn't taking for an answer. No, we're going. You're going. Come on. I'm coming to pick you up, and we're going to work. And he pulled up, And why it's a white work truck dually. I can see the truck. And he picked me up, and I think at this point I had poison all. I mean, he had me clear a fence. I cleared a fence for a job site a few days before. And I didn't use gloves. Poison ivy all over me. I remember just dousing this calamine lotion all over myself. Come downstairs to this townhouse, and there's the tables flipped over. There's people on the couch, passed out. Stepdad's he just slumped over something, just out. And there's my mom in the floor. Between the door and me is just her, just passed out. She's used the restroom on herself. And I just stepped over and walked out the door. And nobody knows what was happening behind those doors. I got in that truck with Mark, kept it together, and I don't know if he knows this now. And I'm excited to have him come on. But as we drive, he listens to K-Love. I didn't think it was a real radio station. I thought those 2-digit radio stations were like talk radio. But it was 89.9. That is K-Love. And Christian radio station. And at the time, I was just full on rap music. That's all I listened to. And this song come on the radio. It's called Who Am I? I think it's Casting Crowns or something. I don't even know. I have to look it up, and I'll put the song on here on the video. And I don't know if he knows the conversations we had right then in that truck. And that song came on, and I just remember looking out that passenger window on the ride to the dump, and it was a long ride, and I needed every second of it. And that song played, and I was like, I really like that song. I didn't say it out loud, but I remember it just touched me. And any anger that I had towards God built up from my grandmother passing, and this is also this is the time where I'm not even anywhere near involved in church, or that's not anything I'm thinking about, right? Who am I? I think our pastor spoke the lyrics. So today reassured me that everything I have went through has been a blessing, because here I am today to share it and to help. And I want to help people with healing. I want to help people that maybe don't have faith. Maybe they have anger and animosity towards God, and they think, how could you put me in situations? But today reassured me that I'm going to be used somehow through this. And so I'm okay with everything that I've went through. I'm okay with it. My story is my own story. It's not fun. There were some long days, but today I'm sitting here today telling you that, man, I wouldn't do it again any other way, because I know that was the path for me. And not everybody has to have that. That's the good thing about this world, is not everybody has to walk that path. Everybody's tool and everybody's gift is totally different, right? This is because my hardships have become now my gift, right? Just that ride with Mark in that construction truck with that poison ivy, stepping over my mom to go to work, let's go to a dump. I'm going to a dump. That's where I was going. I was going to a dump. I was going to a dump to unload a trailer. And I knew at that moment in time the God was real, and that he was with me. And it hasn't been easy, right? The whole way, it just doesn't make it easier. But I didn't feel alone as much as I did. And that song just changed my life. That moment in time changed my life. It gave me life. And, there's maybe 10 people in this world during that stage of my life, and they'll know who they are, that gave me just enough cushion to get through the next day. Just enough cushion to get through the next day. And I'm so appreciative for those friendships and those relationships, mentorship of those people that just held on to me a little bit longer, and so I'm so appreciative of that. So in a 2 to 3 day time span, I went from wanting to let me download that song. I remember you had to download music back then. I remember, boy, as soon as I get home, I'm downloading that song. It didn't fix everything. It's just a song, but the words touched me, and it changed how I viewed myself for a little while, and it got me through. And Mark's watched me, go from bottom of the barrel to now, and so when a man like Uncle Mike or a man like Mark, when they tell me that they're proud of me, it means a lot to me. The hard part is it's still not my dad. Still not my dad. Like, dude, where were you doing all this? You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have to be the greatest person, but you could have. Let me find out you had a stepdad that was doing you. Boy, I have 10 life sentences on my back. So it's just like, man, I'm proud of you. You hear that from me all the time. And I'm glad you get to. I'm glad it's me here today that gets to share that with you. So, but and all of that is, the glory to God to protect me at those times and to get us here to where we can have these magical moments. And these are tough moments right now. These past few weeks starting this up has been a journey for me. But man, I'm so glad that I get to, whether it's telling you verbally or texting you, it means a lot to get to tell you that. Mark will be on the show at some point in time, and that'll be Mark's a character. He's a good guy. He kind of reminds me of like a hybrid Duck Dynasty character.
He looks, what's it, the cheetah guy? Really, what's it called? Like I don't know. There was like this meme. I was like in 2018. Like there's a cheetah guy. Just like it.
I don't know what you mean a cheetah. Yeah, pull it up so we can. That I want to get the rest of this out. There's more stories to come back into, but there's a whole section that where your mom's family embraced me in high school. Obviously, I had to end up leaving where I was at. The best choice was to get out of there because I was going downhill, and it was just time to go. End up, getting to move up here, try to do normal things, and then my mom ends up getting divorced, moves up here. Thought I was gonna be able to get the whole story out, but I'm gonna get out most of what I can, and so she comes here. It still didn't work out. Then it's me and her, and she's going back and forth again, leaving. Now there's bills in my name, and she's back to rip and running with the old guy that she literally just got divorced from. Bills are getting paid. I'm having to pay bills, and I didn't. I just look like things that I just missed out on in school was like, obviously I had to end sports very early. Maybe that's why I love coaching now. But I had to end sports very early. It just wasn't in my cards, man. It just wasn't in my cards. I had to work and pay bills, and that's not fair. But this is how it goes. And I never shared this publicly, but anytime I get asked, I lie about it. I just lie, and that's my answer changes numerous times because I don't know when it would have been. So I never got the opportunity at the two high schools I went to. I've never been to a prom, right? Never got to experience it. Never got to do that. And also, once I moved up here and was with my mom, things got really bad, and I was having to work, or she would have lost Section 8, and we didn't have electric. We wouldn't have water. I'm a high school student trying to just be normal. And so then, yeah, I never finished high school. I think you know that. The world does not. I didn't graduate high school. I tell a lot of people 07, 08. I don't know when I should have graduated, but I did not get to finish high school. And that is my biggest regret of my life, and something that I was so mad about for so long just because I wanted to do the normal thing. And there was a couple teachers throughout that little journey of me finally making a decision, man. There was a couple teachers here that really tried to get me to change my mind. My mom had to sign for it because I wasn't 18. I wasn't old enough to. It just sucks. I'm so even now, like I'm so embarrassed. I did, and this is crazy to put this out here. This is no going back on this. Or I don't know how many years of freshman I did. It depends on which high school I was at. Sophomore probably should have been a junior. And I was hardly ever at school. I was having to pick up day shifts, hours at workplaces to make money. And I just knew things weren't going to end well. I couldn't focus. So I dropped out. Dropped out in 10th grade. Now I did immediately. And I encourage anybody out there that's, if you've done that or you're in a position to, one, I hope you don't, but I did get my GED immediately. It's a general equivalency diploma. You go through your state and you get that. I did get my GED, and obviously fast forward now, I've had a career in the military. I've had amazing jobs. I've went to college. I've done the things educationally to catch up, but I never graduated. Never got to do that hat thing. Never got to do a class reunion. Those are things, man. It sucks. It sucks. So that's why when I tell you, yeah, school sucks, school's boring, whatever, dude, that's all you got to worry about right now. School and sports. That's all you got to worry about. That was not all I had to worry about. So again, not that you have to feel bad for my life, but embrace the fact that that's all you have to worry about, right? School, sports, doing the right thing. I've left some things out on purpose and on accident. So as we get going with this show, and I'll have some individual episodes that I do, and we'll fill in some blanks. So yeah, Michael's middle school years, high school years, what I had of them, they have molded me. I thank the people that were involved in my life during those times that seen potential in me and seen past the life that I was living. And I appreciate everybody for just a little bit of grace that they have shown me. I encourage anybody out there, if you're on that rock bottom moment, that you pray to God. Ask that you seek help and guidance. If you're struggling, there's nothing wrong with saying something's wrong. If you're younger than 18 and you're struggling with this, it's definitely important to speak up. Life is so beautiful and amazing, even in the darkest of days, man. It's never worth, nothing you're going through is ever worth shorting yourself out of life. And I do apologize that these episodes have been very tough. We are looking for guests. If you or somebody would be interested, it does not have to be a sit down face to face. You can send us an anonymous letter, an email. You can just direct message me your story. If you want me to kind of read your story and share things, we can leave your name out of it. I think we're at the end of this. So this has been a tough episode for me. Paige, I appreciate you listening to these stories. We will get past this, and I'm just today. Let me know that we're on the right path. The conversations at church that I've had, the messages I've had from some of you, lets me know that we're on the right path. And I look forward to talking to you guys. And how do you end a show? Shed some grace on me if you see me out, man. I tell you what, this has been the hardest thing to do, honestly. Doing these episodes and then going out in public.
Everybody knows, like, they're literally, some of the stuff that you're telling is like, I would never say it. Like, that's just like,
Yeah.
And like people like, you just like tell it, crying, then like you go out to Walmart and see people like, hey, I watched your podcast, and you're like,
yeah, it's been very challenging for me, honestly, to go. I do these podcasts and I feel like I've shelled up a little bit and stayed inside because I'm so scared of somebody seeing me out in public or seeing the episode and judge me or think different of me. That hasn't happened. That's just all been in my own brain. So far, everybody that's talked to me about it has been like, keep going. I'm working on being more comfortable, I guess, and being able to share this stuff. Always welcome feedback. Please engage with us on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Those are all of our socials. And again, I can't get caught up on followers and likes and stuff like that because at the end of the day, here's what it tells me. No matter how small or big this goes, I've had 2 conversations just today about the previous episodes that impacted a family of people I don't normally talk to. That tells me I'm on pace. Not me, but this community and this platform. Let's keep it coming. Please DM us if you're interested, if you know somebody at all. We can talk about it and then see if this is something that you would want to do.